Hi, it's Melinda from Hope When There Was None. So, a question I get pretty often, it's Teachable Tuesday, is how do you know if somebody is genuinely, if they're genuinely repentant, if they are really sorry for things that they've done? Well, that's like a big, loaded question. So, couple different ways you can tell, because I know honestly there's a few couples that I've met, they've actually been able to heal and rekindle that relationship that was thought to be broken, where the other partner decided to leave, and so they were able to rekindle that. Now, it's not easy and it does take a lot of work, okay? So that person definitely, both have to work. There are habits for both the man and the woman, whatever dynamic that is, parent, so on and so on. They both have to work on this. This isn't just one person working on it. It's both working. Now, if there is a counseling or something that's involved in with that, I would suggest in abusive situations, it's not really at a best interest for the abuser and the victim to do counseling together. And I can tell you this for a fact. I was definitely not able to speak freely when we did counseling. I was threatened if I were to speak anything that went on before counseling, anything that happened on the way there to counseling, that I would get it. I don't know what it was, but I had a good idea. So I learned just to be quiet. Now, a person that's honestly apologetic, that realizes maybe the woman's left, let's say that as an example, and he's realized, okay, I'm a real douchebag. I need to do something to change. Now, that kind of person, that's the kind of person I'm talking about today. That's the kind of person that I've seen literally a couple couples over since I've been doing this for 10 plus years. They've actually been able to work on that relationship and to stay married, or to stay together. So just two. And I've talked with a lot of people over the past years. I don't know how many. I don't know. I don't keep track of that. But there's been quite a few. So sadly, unfortunately, there's some that don't change. And that's that narcissistic person. That's that sociopath, that psychopath. Those people that have different issues, maybe they're bipolar, and I'm not labeling all people that have mental health issues as someone, or even a narcissist. You can have somebody that's a narcissist that they're not doing that emotional things, they're not doing that physical abuse as well. And again, people that have borderline I don't want to say borderline personality disorder, I'm going to say somebody like a bipolar, they're not always abusive. Sometimes I know quite a few people off the top of my head that have bipolar, and they aren't abusive to their partners. And so I just want to get that out there too. And again, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a physician. I'm just going by speaking from experience and people that I know personally. So a person that is going to be apologetic in a relationship is definitely going to respect your boundaries. They're going to respect that you want to be your own individual. They're not going to force so let's say you bring it up to them. So they're not going to force their wishes on you, their beliefs on you. You're going to be living in an autonomy. You'll have your own voice. You'll be able to maybe dress the way you want to express yourself the way you want to. So you'll have that. You will also have somebody that takes responsibility for their own actions, for their feelings, for different things that they've said, different things that they've done. And they definitely show that they're empathetic towards that person, towards you, when they did that poor behavior, okay? So, and they know that there's going to be repercussions. So maybe it is you split up for a time, for a season or so on, and they understand that they see that, hey, I've been a real jerk, and they'll work hard to get that person back. But they'll not just give you lip service, you're going to actually start seeing things in motion where they're going to try, they're going to definitely do, they're going to live in that truth, they're going to even if they think that there's something maybe a little off with the way that their mannerisms, their things that they do, things maybe they grew up in a toxic household and explosively being angry all the time is something that they grew accustomed to, and they picked up those bad behaviors. I'm not saying everybody that grows up in a in an abusive situation is going to have those behaviors. I did, and I don't have those behaviors, but they realize, and I realize it myself when I get angry or something. It doesn't happen very rarely, but I realize it and I take responsibility for myself. I own what I did. It's like, oh my gosh, or even think different thoughts. Whether it's to say something mean to somebody, I don't ever do that, or I very rarely say anything mean. But when I have those thoughts, I realize like, oh, is that coming from me? Of course, I blame the devil right away. But, I realize that that's not me, and that's not, you know what I mean? So you doubt yourself. You doubt whether that's that perception. Now, you are... Again, you're not going to coerce anybody in the future. You're going to recognize that you're doing that manipulation. It's a different type of person. And that's where this normalcy comes into. When you start having that normal relationship, you're going to make that commitment to going to counseling. You're going to make that commitment. Oh, I won't say those bad words anymore. I won't harm you anymore. And they'll have that zero hands off, or words that come up. Now again, this is a lot of work to reverse that damage, but that person's willing to go ahead and go that extra mile and to restore whatever relationship they can, if possible. Now they will not, let's say they're going to say they're sorry, they're going to but own it. They're going to walk the walk. They're going to talk the talk. They're going to not expect you to forgive them right away. They're not going to say, well, I'm doing this, then you should be, I said I'm sorry, so you should be forgiving me. They're not going to do that. It's really different. And so for somebody that is definitely repentant of their actions, it's a different type of person. You'll see them start making those change. Again, they're going to walk the walk. They're going to talk the talk. They're going to work hard to try and gain your respect and your love and your trust, because a lot of times that trust is broken. And so I hear from many women, especially women, that, oh, well, he just emotionally or he verbally abuses me. And once that's brought, especially with these two ladies that I'm thinking of right now, once it was brought to the table that these men were doing that to them, again, there was a change. And it didn't happen overnight. Again, this takes work. And even afterwards, after they got back together, it still takes work. And I'm talking... It didn't take overnight for this change to happen to that person. They had these poor behaviors or patterns for a number of years, decades probably, and it's going to take a long time for them to continue to heal and to grow and to learn and to earn that trust and respect. So if you have somebody that is, if you're in a situation now and you're thinking, well, he says he's sorry, but then he's doing it again, even though he says or she says that they're not going to do it again, you need to really start questioning that. If they're going to counseling and every other time you go to counseling, they're nitpicking that counselor, or they're against me, or, it's just you two females are turning against me, or that guy, are you seeing that guy? If there's some kind of thing like that going on, you really, really need to start thinking hard about this. Is this person definitely somebody that is apologizing, or are they that narcissist? Are they that covert abuser? Are they somebody that isn't repentant at all? And sometimes they like that control, and they still take that control back, even though they say, oh, I promise I'm not going to do X, Y, Z again, and they're doing it again. Just think long and hard about that. And it can be hurtful. It can be hard to leave a relationship, especially if you've gone, a year or decades. It can be hard to start all over. And when I talk to people, when I talk to women, that's the thing, is being afraid of the unknown. You're comfortable with navigating that narcissist or whatever that person is to you, that toxic person, that parent or whatever, and you'd rather just stay where you're at than face the unknown. And many are worried about jumping into another relationship with somebody else that's toxic as well. I know, I felt that way. But giving yourself time alone to unbreak those patterns, those strongholds that you developed in that poor relationship, that goes a long way. And that's why I harp on self-care. And honestly, I know a lot of folks don't do self-care. A lot of victims, they don't. Because I know that, because my podcast for self-care, those numbers are very low. So we'd rather talk about the other things and the messy, and that's fine too. But I do want to encourage you, if you don't have a self-care practice, please start thinking about doing so. And it's just little things. I say this, 5 minutes for self-care. It doesn't take much. And that just starts baby steps, and it can start avalanching into bigger and better things. So I encourage you, that's part of the healing. That's how I got to where I'm at, is starting to love myself, starting to do that self-care work. And a lot of that was help from above, okay? I'm going to talk about that for a minute. I owe a lot of my recovery from abuse, my PTSD and so on, from God. I do, having that faith. And I know when there are some people that don't have that faith or have that encouragement or belief that there is a greater power out there, many times they still struggle. Okay, and not saying that I don't struggle. My life is not perfect, but I know I had a lot more comfort and a lot more, almost like supernatural things start happening to me when I started to really literally fall on my knees and ask for guidance and for help, and to crack open that Bible, to start singing hymns, and just on my podcast, my Spotify, I do have hymns on there if I'm ever feeling like I need to be uplifted. There's friends that I call. It's like, okay, I need some prayers. Even in the Survivors Cafe, like, okay, I did a video recently where I shared some deep issues that I was having because I needed someone, and we all need that. We need that encouragement. We need that help. And I needed that. It's like, okay, ladies, this is what's going on now, and I need you to pray for me. So we all need that person, that cheerleader, that faith, whatever that is for you. And I'm just going to call out my heavenly God, and he's been a savior to me. Now, if you want to know how I have a relationship with God, if you want to know more, message me privately. And I know that there's been some women that have been hurt by somebody in the church, or somebody that they might have been a parent or a intimate partner that really twisted that Bible and those teachings, and they twisted it in such a way, or they made them perverted, or even satanic. There was rituals there that was performed on them. And so they've been driven away from their faith or from God. And I'm going to love on you, whoever you are, whoever's watching this right now. And just to let you know that if you ever want to talk about my relationship or how to get a relationship with the Lord, message me privately, okay? My phone number's on my blog, on The Hope When There Was None. Call me. If I'm not home, I'm not home, but I'll call you back. But if you ever want to talk about that, I'm happy to talk about my faith anytime, anywhere. If you want to do coffee, if you're in the Northwest Indiana area, southwest suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, yeah, let's talk. Okay, so this was Teachable Tuesday. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for me to talk about, if you are somebody that's interested in sharing your story, or maybe you know somebody that might want to share their story, by all means, message me. Send me a shout out. I'm happy to take any questions, any feedback, and so on. So I made this a little bit longer than I meant to. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Mwah. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.